Hello and welcome, everyone. We're excited to have you all here, today for our presentation. I'm Jim Olson, Assistant Executive Director for the NTCA, and I hope you and your families are all healthy and safe. Today's program is titled Tools for Gauge Porcelain Tile Panels. I think you're going to learn a little bit about some new tools, how to use existing tools. I think it'll be a great program, and it's being presented by Rubi Tools. Before we continue, I have some business to take care of. Today's webinar will be muted. Please use the questions area on your computer to type in your questions. We will answer your questions at the end of this presentation. All of our webinars are available to watch at any time on the NTCA YouTube channel within 48 to 72 hours after the webinar is presented. Please go to the NTCA YouTube channel, subscribe, and you'll be notified of all upcoming NTCA videos, including all technical webinars. This will give you easier access to watch all current and past programs at your convenience. If the audio on your computer is poor, call the number on the invite that was provided to you and listen on your phone. Today's speaker, Hector Martinez, has been in the business for 18 years with Rubi for the last 3.5 years. As the technical manager and product trainer, the last couple of years, Hector has been out helping to launch Rubi's new tools specifically for gauge porcelain tile panels internationally, presenting and demonstrating tools in Mexico and Spain, and we're lucky to have him here. I want to welcome you, Hector. I will let you go here, and I'm looking forward to a great presentation. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jim. Hello, everyone. As Jim's mentioned, my name is Hector. I'm the technical and product trainer with Rubi Tools. This is my specialty, so I hope you like my presentation, but the more questions we have, the better. Okay, I'm here to answer everything that you guys have a question on, and if I can't find an answer, well, I'll give you my information, and I can follow up with you. All right, so let's get started. Slab. What is slab, right? A slab, the definition of slab is anything with a side that's 48 inches or bigger on a piece of tile. What we have when we've launched is tools to help manipulate, to help cut down, to help install these large format slab tiles. The slab tiles, like I said, 48 inches and up to 5 feet by 10 feet, and as thin as 3 millimeters. Okay. How do these materials get to a job site? These panels get there either horizontally in a wooden crate or vertically, like in an A-frame. Okay. It is imperative that when we go to get our pieces of material out of the box or off of the A-frame, before we use any kind of transportation system, that we clean any debris, any dust off of our material, because those can be known as what we call in the industry a bond breaker. You might hear that term with the motor companies. With us, the bond breaker is dust, especially for our suction cups. Up first, we have what's called the Slim Easy Trans. The Slim Easy Trans comes with, it's a 2-part system, okay? You get 2 rails with 5 suction cups on each rail, right? We have introduced new crossbars for better support and rigidity, and also help increase load capacity. The suction cups that come on these on the Slim Easy Trans do have that extra ring, so you can use it for rough materials. All right. The Slim Easy Trans is retractable, so you can go as small as 3 feet to as big as 10 feet, depending on the size of the panel that you're working with. All right. The maximum load capacity on the Slim Easy Trans is 132 pounds. With that being said, we can add suction cups to the Slim Easy Trans to increase the load capacity. For every 2 suction cups that we add, you can add another, I believe it's 25 pounds, with the max being 242 pounds. So we take that maximum load from 132 pounds with the 10 suction cups that we have. If we add more, we are now up to 242. For heavier material, we have what's known as the slab trans heavy duty. With this transportation system, you get 6 8-inch vacuum suction cups. All right. It already comes with the support bars for the support and load capacity, and it is retractable from 3 feet all the way to 10 and a half, 10 and a quarter feet, something around that area. I can get the actual measurement for you. I know it says here 126 feet. The maximum load capacity is 310 pounds, but unlike the Slim Easy Trans, you can add suction cups to this, but it will not increase the load capacity. The load capacity has nothing to do with the suction cups, as each suction cup holds 243 pounds. The 310 pounds comes from the frame. The frame can only hold up to 310 pounds. So even if you add more suction cups, you're not adding to the maximum load on the Slab Trans heavy duty. Now, the crossbars for the Slim Easy Trans and the Slab Trans heavy duty will come in clutch for another feature that we have. And then we'll get that into the next slide. I thought that was next. For the Slab Trans heavy duty, we do offer replacements for the suction cups, or if you want to add more suction cups to your Slab Trans heavy duty, we have those available as well. And we also have the single vacuum suction cups. So if you cut down a piece and you don't need the whole system, you can just have a loose single vacuum suction cup. And like I said, it holds up to 242 pounds. It's got a red line indicator. They're like Reebok pumps. You just got to pump it, you see the red line disappear, and you know you got a good hold. On the opposite end of the suction cup, there's a tab that you press and release the air from underneath. Now, if your suction cup is still attached to material after you release the air, there's a pull tab down at the bottom of the suction cup. You just lift the tab, and the suction cup will release. Okay. Now we get into the slab trolley. Those crossbars for the Slim Easy Trans and the Slab Trans heavy duty, they work well with installation, but here they come in clutch with our slab trolley. All right. How do you get from point A to point B? You would take either the material off of the A-frame, or you would take it off of the wooden crate, and then you can set those support bars into our slab trolley, lock it in place, and you can have one person move it from point A to point B, right? Makes transporting large porcelain panel tiles, a breeze. It makes back buttering very easy, because if you're installing this solid piece, this 5 foot by 10 foot piece, you don't have to take it off the trolley to back butter your piece. You can back butter while it sits on the trolley. Okay, it's got the wheels have a locking mechanism, so you don't have any kind of movement as you're back buttering. You know you're solid and secure, and it's not gonna fall off on you. The slab table. The slab table is very important that we have one for our large slab panels. Why? If for anyone that's done any kind of vinyl cove base in their life, like I have, I also have experience in carpet and putting vinyl base in commercial settings. When you put vinyl cove base, what it does is it follows the pattern of the wall. If there's bellies in the wall and you look at it, you're gonna see the wall kind of belly out in your cove base. It's not a cove base issue, that's a wall issue. Same component here. When we go to score, and we'll get into that a little later, when we go to score our tile, if we're using just a 6 foot plastic picnic table, when we go to score with our scoring cart, what's gonna happen is it's gonna flex and bounce. So the scoring cart, when we go run it across, it's gonna flex and bounce as well, and you're not gonna get a good score, all right? But here we have a great solution. It's called the slab table. One reference equals one table, so one 5 foot table. So we recommend that you order 2 for your 10 foot slabs. All right, they're nice and rigid. We're at a working height of 27 inches tall. That's not that tall, Other competitors are taller than ours, but we designed it this way to work in conjunction with our slab trolley. When you're bringing your porcelain panel to the slab table, you just have to tip the cart over onto the slab table, whether you are going to cut it or you want to lean it on the table for more secure back buttering. Okay. With this working height, you don't have to struggle with two hands to try to pick up the trolley and the piece and slab it and put it on the table. This one, you kind of just tilt against the table, and with your bottom hand, you just kind of lift it up with ease, and it'll sit on your table. Okay. It does have a maximum load capacity of 551 pounds. So be sure to check our slab table and check out its features, check out the height, the working height with it, and see, you'll see what I'm talking about when you see you're no struggling when putting your porcelain piece on there. How are we cutting these panels? Here we have the slim cutter system, and this we've had out for a few years now, okay? The slim cutter system basically is one large tile cutter. If anyone knows Rubi, you know that we specialize in tile cutters and scoring wheels. We invented it in 1951, and we've just been excelling since, okay? So if you were to purchase this slim cutter system, what you get is what I call a pool cue bag, okay? You get three guide rails that when you assemble them together, extend to over 10 feet, all right? You also get 2 suction cups to hold the guides down for you. They aren't necessary, but they do offer extra support, as on the bottom of our guide rails, we have a piece of rubber going through that will stop to help with staying in place, all right? Next, we have the scoring cart. This is what we have our scoring wheel on. And at this point, we have our 22 millimeter extreme scoring wheel, which is brand new in the last year. It lasts 300% longer than our regular silver scoring wheel. If you think about it, in the letter V, the tighter the V is, the better it is for textured and grooved surfaces. So if you have something like wood plank tile that has kind of a grain to it, the scoring wheel on the 22 millimeter extreme will make sure you get a good score on that. Our older version of the scoring wheel, that V is wider, so it's got more surface to grab, and the V, with the V being tighter, we're ensuring that we're just grabbing whatever piece of grain we want off of that tile, right? Next, we have the nippers. The nippers are good from anywhere from 3 millimeter to 6 millimeter thick, okay? And this is very imperative that you know how to work these breakers. And the way I liken this to is when you go to shake someone's hand, you don't try to, squeeze their hand and try to break their hand right away. That's too firm. When you go to use these nippers, you want to ease into a handshake. You want to gradually increase pressure. Same thing with these nippers. We go break our tile. We're gonna press down on our score line, and we're gonna increase pressure until we hear a pop. Once we hear a pop, we know that it is broken. We do include 2, but you can do it 1 at a time. You don't need 2 people on each side doing it at the same time. You can do it. It is preferred, but if you're working with a 2-man operation, and hopefully you're working with 3 or 4, one person can simply go to one side, get one side to break, go to the other side, and get the other side to break. Now, the benefits to having the slim cutter system in the guides is hopefully 10 feet is the largest that they'll make them in, but if they ever get any bigger, we can get you an extra guide to keep adding on to the slim cutter system, okay? For anything bigger than 6 millimeter, anything thicker than 6 millimeter, what we recommend is using our slim breaker. This slim breaker is great for anything 6 millimeters to 15 millimeters thick. And the way I make the metaphor for people to understand how to use this is think of it as in the heist movie. People trying to crack open a safe, right? When you don't have the code to crack open a safe, what do people use? They use a doctor's stethoscope. They put it up to the safe and they turn the dial until they hear the click. This is the same operation we're using here. We're putting it on our score line. We're turning the knob on there ever so slowly until we hear a click. We just want to hear that click. Once we hear that click, we know that that side is broken. We go to the other side and we repeat the process. Okay, so just make that correlation. When you use the slim breaker, it's like you're trying to crack open the safe. Here's another cutting option that we have. It's called the TC125. The TC125 is sold in a kit that comes with 3 rails and 2 suction cups in the TC125 Circular Saw, but it also works with our older model slim cutter system. So if you already have our slim cutter, you can just purchase the TC125 and use it with your existing slim cutter system. The benefits to having the TC125 is you can get a miter cut with it, and you can get a plunge cut. The other features include using it wet with the water hose attachment or using it dry with the vacuum hose attachment. I always say wetter is better when it comes to cutting tile. You can use, if things are listed as wet, you need to use them wet. But even if things are listed as dry, it will never hurt to add a little bit of water. So if you got dry drill bits or dry grinder disc, it will never hurt to add water. I always say wetter is better. Okay, well, with this TC125, you can use either a 4.5 or a 5-inch blade. And we'll get to those blades that I recommend for the panels in just a bit. Here they are. The first one that we'll mention is the VIP Turbo Mesh Blade. Okay, this one comes in a 4-inch, 4.5, 5, and then your wet saw sizes 7, 8, 10, 12, and 14. But the VIP Turbo Mesh it's a mesh rim blade. It's got that mesh technology, which means the mesh rim technology allows for cooler air to enter the blade, which slows down the heat and up process. When you slow down the heat and up process, you're able to move a little faster. Okay, so it's a fast little blade. This also gives us perfect finishes and nearly chip-free finish. It's also got a reinforced core at the center. So if you have a circular saw or a grinder where the blade tends to wobble or extra vibration, the thicker center will help you cure that problem. All right. In other applications like a wet saw, the tabletop wet saw like the DeWalt, the disc tends to wobble. There's nothing wrong with the machine itself. It's just the blade tends to wobble. That reinforced center cures that problem for you. Okay. With that mesh rim technology, it's a very thin blade, and with that thicker core, which cures that wobbling, that means it's not supposed to move. All right. So we like to use this blade with straight cuts only. We don't want to force it to move, because if we force it to move, the blade can break, right? So straight cuts only. Do not use it for any kind of radius cutting, and do not use it on a miter. If you want to use a miter, we got the blade below called a 2-in-1 ECD. This by far is one of the coolest blades that we have. It's one of my favorite blades. It does come in a 4.5 and 5-inch. It is for cutting, grinding, beveling, rounding, and shaping. Okay. If you see the face of it, you see these electroplated dots. Those electroplated dots will help you polish, bevel, and shape your tile. To use it on the TC125 though, we got to take the 4 screws off of that center arbor, and now it's just a regular grinder blade. And we can put that on our TC125, and we can use it for straight cutting, we can use it for our miter cutting, we can use it for our shaping, polishing on our slabs. Drill bits. As I mentioned, Drill bits can come in either a wet application or a dry application. Up top, we have what's called the dry grass for a grinder, which is kind of self-explanatory. We are using it on a grinder. They are vacuum brazed drill bits. They go available sizes for anywhere from a 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch, and they have air cooling slots for cooling and core removal. So when when you get a piece of porcelain tile stuck in there, you could just kind of knock those out of there. The dry grass 4 drill, they are dry bits, but you can use them for your electric drill. Okay, the sizes there are 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch, and inside they contain a wax for the cooling of the drill bit. And then lastly, we have electroplated diamonds, the Easy Grass 4 drill, which is again for your drill. For the Easy Grass though, you have to use these wax. All right, we do have sizes from a 1/4 inch to 4 3/4 inch. We do sell them in kits. The kits do come with a vacuum, with a suction cup guide and a self-feeding water tank to keep it wet. All right. Now, when we use the drill, we have to make sure that we are not using the hammer feature on the drill, and that we're just using the regular feature off the drill. Why are they important in the slabs? Well, the slabs carry a lot of tension in them. It may not look like they do, but believe me, they do. So when you go to make an L-shaped cut or just a punch out for your electrical outlet or a switch plate or anything that you need to make, we need to use a drill bit no smaller than 3/8 of an inch. And at each pivot point or each corner, we got to drill a hole. What that hole does is it releases the tension in your slabs. Now, slabs range from anywhere from $700 to about $2,000 a piece and more. If you go to make an L-shaped cut and you don't put a drill bit in, what can happen is your piece can shatter and break, and now you're out some money. So please always remember, for any kind of L-shaped cut or pivot point cut, we need to drill a hole. And then with our grinder blade or our TC125, we play connect the dots. We connect the dots, and we break off that piece. And now we have achieved, what we have achieved is our L-shaped cut or our electrical outlet cut without cracking the tile. When we install this slab tile, there still can be a sort of lippage. I know Jim and the NTCA are big on training people and giving people the knowledge on how to prepare the substrate for the slabs. But we also know that sometimes, being as large as these pieces are, there could be some uneven. So assuming that we have our substrate level and flat, okay, we have the correct trowels, trowel marks, we collapse our ridges, there still may be some sort of lippage. This is where our delta leveling system comes into play. We have 3 different sizes, 1/32, 1/16, and 1/8, and as you can see, they're all color coordinated. That you could use, and they're true to size. So if you want a 1/8 grout joint or a 1/16 grout joint, you don't need to use a spacer with these clips, okay? And the way that it works is, if you look down at our wedge, you can see the back side is bigger, right? That back side is going to sit on the tile that sits higher than the tile next to it, because when we go to push it through the clip with our tool there, it's actually going to press that higher tile down into your mud. So you don't have to worry about the clip lifting your piece out of the mortar or mud mixture. It's actually going to push it down into it, so we get a nice secure bond. Okay, the clips we have can be used with 95% of the similar systems out there. Our gun is also compatible with it. And same with our wedges. The advantage to the Rubis are we make and manufacture our own products in Spain. And if you look down at the base of the clip on the 1/16, you can see that it kind of angles in. instead of going straight down. That angle in actually allows us, when we go to kick them off the next day or whenever the motor cures, when we go to kick them off, it actually causes a clean break, so we don't have to go fishing through our grout joint and getting these pieces of plastic out. Okay, so that's the advantage of it. And then the new pliers, I don't know if you guys have seen the old style pliers where they're wing nuts, two wing nuts that you have to move on the pliers. These are fast and adjustable. You just, with your hand, with one hand, you just move it to the place you want to set it at, and you're good to go. Rubi mixes. One of my favorite tools and products, especially because all the years that I spent working for my dad and his help and his people making me make a lot of buckets of motor, is the Rubi mix. Okay, the reason why I loved it when I first used it and saw it was first the ergonomic handles. All right, two handles, one on each side of your hand. They fit comfortably inside your hand. You don't have to squeeze or make an awkward placement of your hands onto your mixing drill. Right. The other thing I like about it is if you talk to Mapei or you talk to Ardex or you talk to Laticrete, they have different motors and different grouts for different applications. And there's also specific instructions that they have in the back on how to mix it. What we have on our mixing drill is a 2-gear system. On the Rubi Mix 9N, which is one of our best sellers, the first RPM setting is 0 to 650, and the second RPM is 0 to 850. So it's imperative that you always read the back of what the motor bag says, whether it's Mapei, Ardex, or Laticrete, or custom, or whoever you're using. It's imperative that you read and you choose the right RPM settings for your mixing drill. Okay, we have a safety feature on this. I know when I used to mix thin sets and I used to add water or add more motor into the mix, I'd bend down and I'd add it into the bucket, but my mixing drill would turn on and I'd have motor all over the wall, all over the floor, and I got a big cleanup on my hands. Well, the security feature on here makes it so it doesn't start until you want it to. All right. The other great feature about it is the M14 threaded connection paddle. The paddle that it comes with, you see the unique helix design. When people start out, when I started out, I used to take my mixing drill and lift the mixing drill up and down into my mud, and I didn't know it at the time, but what I was doing was creating air into my motor, which is not good for it. This helix design takes the surrounding product in the bucket. It goes from up top and disperses down through the bottom, ensuring that we get a nice even mixture of our product. Okay, we do have other mixing drills. We have the 9N Plus, which is more wattage. I think it's the 1800 watt as opposed to the 1200 watt here. And then we have the Rubi Mix E10 Energy. It's a battery operated mixing drill. We will get we'll sell with one battery, but we sometimes we offer promotions where you get a second battery free of charge. With a single charge battery, you can get 5 bags, 50-pound bags mixed of motor. All right, great for job sites, commercial settings where there's one outlet for 10 trades. All right. The other installation tools, I'll talk about the European trowel first. People always call and ask, Hector, which trowel do I need to use? Is it the 1/2x1/2 square? Or is it the 1/2x1/2 U? The one that I recommend always is the European trowel. We call it the YW. And why we suggest this is because when we lay our tiles, whether it's 12x12 or 8x24 or whatever size it is, we have to trowel the right way, but we also have to collapse the ridges in order to get all the air out from underneath our tile. When you're troweling for 5 feet by 10 foot slabs and you put it on the wall or you put it on the floor, it's not going to move very much. Luckily, with the European trowel, it doesn't take very much movement to collapse the ridges. If you look at the unique design, some people will call it the zipper trowel, some people will call it the flame trowel. Whatever you call it though, it's designed so the ridges are easy to collapse. It works like a half by half. We're only using this motor like it's 3/8 by 3/8, so it's very ideal to use for large formats. It does get you about 90 to 95% coverage, so we still recommend that you back butter, because what we're trying to achieve is 100% 100% coverage underneath our tile. Like I said, the more coverage we have, the less air there's going to be underneath. Okay. Now, if you look up top, we have what's known as the tile beating block. This helps beat out the air from underneath the tile. So let's say we've collapsed our tile, we've taken as much air as we could. We'll now take this beating block, and especially in a wall position, we'll try to beat the air out. And how we'll use it, and the NTCA has a great diagram for this. So we'll start off at the center. We'll put bottom first. We'll touch the bottom to the tile and then slap the top to the tile. Okay, but we'll start at the center and we'll work our way to one side. In this case, in this example, I'll say we'll work to our right side. So we'll start at the center. We'll work our way to the right. We'll work our way back to the center. We'll work our way back out left and back to center, and then we'll move up and repeat the process until we're done beating the whole tile. Okay, you don't have to worry about breaking your porcelain tile. The porcelain slabs are very heavy duty. Okay, obviously you don't want to go in like the Hulk and beat your tile in, but you can be pretty firm with this and not worry about breaking your tile. Down at the bottom, we have what are hand polishing pads. Okay, these are, you can use dry or you can use wet. The way I use them, I have a bucket of water next to me, and I'll just kind of dip my polishing pads and I'll use them on my exposed edges. So this we're using when, let's say, we'll do a miter cut, or we have an exposed cut, or even if we'll have the piece sitting there. When we make the cuts on the porcelain slabs, they can get pretty sharp. You run your finger across and you've got a big gash on your finger. This will knock that off. This will clean up your profile. So when you make that, you use a TC125, I would still suggest using a hand polishing pad to clean it up. And the way we'll use it is we'll start with the 60 grit and then work our way up to the 120 grit. We do have other sizes available in the 200 grit and the 400 grit, and we'll stop wherever we need. All right. Other installation tools, we have the replaceable grout float. What I love about this is the beveled edge on one side, which helps me get into the corners a lot easier. It also helps me pick up my grout. Any extra grout that I leave on the floor helps me pick that up. It's great for a sanded or non-sanded. Will not scratch your tile because it is made out of rubber. And like I said, it's interchangeable. So you'll keep the handle, you'll just replace the red rubber float. All right. Below, we have what's called a Rubi clean kit. What's unique about this is it cuts down our grouting time by 50%. We've done a lot of research with this. We do a lot of market research. We'll pull installers from in Europe, and we'll pull installers in the US, and we'll give them our products and we'll test them out. And research has showed us that using our Rubi clean kit will cut down that grouting time by 50%. What it comes with is a float, a sponge with a handle, and then the regular sponge. It also comes with 2 rollers. So whether we use the float, the sponge, or the sponge with handle, when we use it, we'll just run it over the rollers and it will squeeze everything, all the dirt and all the dirty water out of it, so we go ahead and use it again. Instead of taking our regular sponge, dipping it in the water and wring and wring and wring until we get all that dirt out, we just push it over the rollers. Down below is the sponge with handle. You can order replacements. It's one of the top sellers because it's not pictured here, but if you were to look underneath, it's cross-cut underneath, which holds dirt better, makes picking up dirt, picking up grout and cleaning a lot easier. With that said, that was my presentation. Below you'll see, people who have helped out with the slab tools. We have Alec Ipatenko, who handles large accounts with Rubi. We have Rafael Rodriguez, who's the national sales manager, and EM himself, who deals with product training and all the technical information that you need. With that said, Jim, I think we'll open up to questions to anyone that has them. We'll take it from there.
Rafael, thank you. That was very well presented with lots of information. We do have a couple questions here, and the first one is on your drills, Hector. But before we go into the question, I just want to thank Rubi. For those of you that don't know, and even those of you that do know, the CTF Ceramic Tile Education Foundation was having a tough year with COVID and having to close down all their CTIs and training. And they had an auction last week. And Rubi provided, along with many other manufacturers, almost all the manufacturers in our industry, but Rubi provided 3 of their electric drills, their battery pack drills. I want to thank you for that. And Hector, this question is really about your drills. The question is, can you remind our viewers what the speeds are on your mixers, especially the battery operated mixers?
So the Rubi Mix N, the 9N, the 2 gears are 0 to 650 and 0 to 850. And then on the electric mixing drill, 0 to 420 and 0 to 700.
Great. Do you have, can you put back up the last screen that you had on there that has the email addresses and contact information?
There you go.
It is important that everyone knows how to get a hold of Alec or Rafael or Hector. They're there for your convenience to help you with questions and concerns. They can provide information as to where you can get their equipment. But I think more important than that is they can answer your questions in regards to gauge porcelain tile panel installation, cutting, a lot of the things. They work close with NTCA and our GPTP regional training programs. And again, I want everyone to appreciate what they have to offer. I appreciate what Rubi does with NTCA and how they sponsor us. So other than that, Hector, right now we don't have a lot of questions. I believe it's because you did such a thorough job in explaining the tools and how they work. Right. I hope people take the time to reach out to Rubi. And I want to thank all of you. I want to thank you, Hector. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you to everyone involved with the CTF, NTCA, and the Total Solutions Plus. Yeah, guys, give me a call, send me an email, whatever questions you have. I'll be here for you in the near future. Hopefully, after this pandemic is over, I'll see you guys on the road. But when I'm on the road, I want volunteers, and if I don't get volunteers, I will pick you guys out and make you guys feel our stuff, feel the product, and learn. We're all here to learn. So the more questions are asked, the better. All
right. So everybody, I want to make sure that you know to keep looking in your email. We will definitely be sending invites for our next webinar in November. But have a great Thanksgiving this weekend. Thanksgiving, I'm a little ahead of myself. How about Halloween? Let's start with Halloween. I'm like a Target or some of these retail stores. They're like 6 holidays ahead. So sorry about that. Enjoy your Halloween. Have fun. Be safe. Please practice social distancing. And we will talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you.